All right. We are live. We'll go ahead and get us shared up here before we get started. Let me get this going. Great share. Bam. And welcome to the Super Terb Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Turbot, your local real estate expert here in the Raleigh-Durham Triangle area, a.k.a. Coach Terb, a.k.a. Super Terb. And I can't be more excited about tonight's primetime live edition of my featured guest, Jobey Thomas and Diego Guevara. For many of you that went to Charlotte or UNC Charlotte in the late 90s, early 2000s, you know those names well. And those are two legends on the court that now sell real estate in Charlotte. So I can't wait to have them on and have them tell their story, not only from the basketball career, but to what they're doing now in real estate. And for many that are joining me for the first time here on iTunes, Spotify, Facebook Live, my YouTube channel, welcome. I started this podcast, this is episode 12, and I started this podcast to highlight real estate, business, local business, sports, and beer in the Triangle. All things that I'm passionate about. Mainly talking to entrepreneur, business owners, people in the sports industry. So I'm having a phenomenal time. I like to touch on real estate and, of course, sports. So before I bring Diego and Jobey on, they're in the back, right there in the back room. I see them. They're excited. I want to just touch on some real estate. And what's exciting about having Jobey and Diego on with me tonight is they're going to be able to talk about the real estate market in Charlotte, and we can even do a little compare and contrast. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of similarities. So with real estate, not much has changed, guys. Current market conditions, supply is at really an all-time low, and with demand at an all-time high. Interest rates are low. There's no better time to buy. However, when you get into the buying market, you're going to be in very competitive situations, multiple offers. And so it's very important before you start the process to make sure you have a phenomenal buyer consultation with a reputable buyer agent in your market. That way you guys can start the process, create the right expectations with your agent. So when you guys get out and look for property, you guys will not be able to hesitate and get the right home for you. I see the marketplace not changing much this year. The biggest hurdles that we're seeing is people that have maybe little money down, which with great loan programs, but it's a challenging process when you're looking you're in a multiple offer situation. In saying that, though, there's a lot of ways you can construct an offer that's maybe not price oriented that still gets you to the finish line and with the winning offer. So again, make sure you reach out. If you're in the Triangle and you're looking to start your home buying process, reach out to me. And on the flip side, if you're thinking about selling your home, there's literally no better time to sell. And I'm sure Jobey and Diego will echo those sentiments. Sports, this past Sunday, Super Bowl 55. Wow. I honestly had the Bucs winning just because of the front four. The O-line for the Chiefs were a little bit banged up, but I still, at the end of the day, was waiting for Mahomes and crew to hit the big plays over the top and win the game. There at the end, I had flashbacks to Super Bowl 50 and how poor Cam was against Denver with the pressure that was put on him with Von Miller. So hats off to my division rivals, the Tampa Bay, what I like to call Yucks. But it should be better. The Chiefs should be back with many years. Mahomes going to have many more opportunities. Of course, TB12 got his 7th. So it's pretty exciting. So I'm going to take a quick break. On the other side, I'm going to bring on Jobey and Diego, and we're going to talk some hoops, some real estate, and have some fun. All right, be right back. And welcome back to the Super Terb Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Michael Turbot, a.k.a. Super Terb, a.k.a. Coach Terb, and I've got two awesome guys right there on screen with me, Diego Guevara and Jobey Thomas. And you guys can see I was highlights promoting this all week. I have two literal legends on the court, which I had the honor of. For many of you don't know, I actually did their laundry for 3 years as a student assistant under Coach Lutz. But we have some great memories, had some great times, which I'm going to get into. But coincidentally, both Diego and Jobey, after their college careers, they both played professionally and now are running their top producers in the Charlotte area, running great businesses. And so I'm very excited to have them on and get their input of what they're seeing in the real estate market and talk shop. So before we get started, Diego, you start, introduce yourself and who you're working with now and how long you've been selling real estate.
Hey, Super Terb. Well, first of all, I'm honored to be here, man, with you and Jobey. My name is Diego Guevara, and started in real estate. I've been licensed since 2006, but really started in the business full-time 100% in 2017, being with Keller Williams in the university area in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I love everything about the real estate business, and I'm here to talk a little bit about it.
All right. And Jobey, how about you?
What's up, everybody? Turb, thanks again for having me. Diego, my backcourt mate, he occasionally threw me a pass or two when we were playing. It was hard. He liked to put up the jumpers, but he might let me get a word or two in tonight. We'll see. Who knows? So, a joy to be with you guys. Jobey Thomas, born and raised native Charlottean here. As Turb said, played professionally 13 years overseas, and been in real estate 5 years roughly now. Started out with a boutique firm, Cottingham Chalk, here in Charlotte. Actually, 13 months ago, at the beginning of 2020, started our own brokerage firm, Clockwork Realty Group. Also have a property management company, Clockwork Properties. So 10 agents currently. We're a small firm, but growing and excited to be here in the Charlotte market. Very cool.
One thing about you guys, I didn't mind before we had a gun, rebounding for you guys. I didn't have to move very often. It was very easy to rebound and pass back to you guys. So tell everyone real quick the years you played at Charlotte.
I played, it's been so long ago. Not 2000, 1997 to 2001.
Yeah, and I overlapped, so I was 1998 to 2002. So Diego and I got the honor of playing together for 3 years.
I was blessed to be able to, like I said, be a student assistant with you guys for 3 of those years, 99 to 02, NIT in 99, of course, 2 NCAA tournaments thereafter, which just the memories were amazing. And I'm going to talk briefly about your basketball career because I know a lot of people tuning in are going to watch this, remember you guys from, Halton Arena and the many threes made. What made you guys go to Charlotte? Start off by that. Now, for many people out there, when you hear Charlotte, we like calling it Charlotte. You may know of it as UNC Charlotte, but we're Charlotte 49ers. But what made you guys decide to go to Charlotte?
So I guess I go first because I went there first, right? Jobey came because he saw me playing. Easy for him. I actually am originally from Venezuela in South America. And I first came to the U.S. in 1995. I went to a high school for my senior year in New York, upstate New York. And then I went to a prep school in Tennessee. Long story short, because,
Hold on 1 second. I got people trying to vacuum in the hallway. Cut that off. That's how we do things live. I'm in the office. We don't need that. I'm live right now. We good. Don't worry about it. Thank you, sir. See, you never know. And we're gonna have this on the podcast too. This is how. Don't worry about it. I'm live on the internet. Yeah, tomorrow's fine. That's how we roll. I'm like, what is going on here? I thought a plane was coming in. All right, so that's you always be ready for things. It's kind of like when you go out and you think you can see man, you see zone. You just go to one game, you hit the gaps, and we're okay. All right, keep going.
You just got to adjust and keep going.
Yes.
So just to make it short, because I could tell stories for hours. Reason I came to Charlotte was Coach Luke's. He recruited me heavy. I didn't finish my senior year in high school in the U.S. I went back home. I was homesick, and then likewise in my prep school year, I went home and I was homesick. And the only coach that stayed on top of me and always even wishing me well if I wasn't going to come back to the U.S. was Coach Luke's. So in the middle of April 1997, I remember like it was yesterday. Middle of April 1997, I'm sitting at home in Venezuela, and I'm thinking, what am I doing here? Like, I do want to play in the States. I dream of playing in the NBA. And for me to get close to playing in the NBA, I got to play in college. So the one person that I called, collect call. Remember they collect calls back in the day? It was no DM on Instagram or anything like that. Collect calls. And I asked them straight up, I said, hey, coach, is it too late for me to go to your school? And luckily it wasn't. I think they had one scholarship left. And of course, he got excited as well.
I think Coach would have made arrangements.
Yeah,
he would have done some things.
We worked it out, and that's how I ended up in Charlotte. Then when I came for a visit, I love campus. I love the city, and yeah, been here ever since 1997.
Cool. All right, Jobey.
Yeah, for me,
you're local. You're local.
That's right. As I said, grew up in Charlotte, and so I honestly never wanted to stay home and play. Was really close to going to LSU out of high school. Believe it or not, I always wanted to play a big conference or for an ACC school. But Charlotte at the time was growing, had built a new arena. Diego and company the previous year lost in the second round of the NCAA tournament on a buzzer beater to North Carolina, who I grew up following, was a huge fan of. So I saw a huge opportunity to stay home and to help build something. I was excited about what was going on just up the road. And so Coach Lutz was also significant. I actually signed to play for Melvin Watkins, who coached Diego his freshman year. He ended up leaving to go to Texas A&M. But Coach Lutz was, instrumental in the recruiting process. And once he got the head job, it actually was probably the greatest thing that could have happened for my career. To this day, I'm truly just grateful for Coach, his family, and not that it wouldn't have been a good opportunity had Coach Watkins been in place, but Coach Lutz, I felt like he loves shooters. Diego and I were both shooters, and I started, I think, all but 9 games my freshman year, and I really attribute that. A lot of hard work, obviously, but Coach Lutz was a big part of that. What
do you like better, corner or cornerback?
That's right, man. Two of my favorite plays of all time. A lot of threes on those.
Yeah, I know you guys hit the green light. So real quick, and then we'll get into some real estate talk. Actually, I had a couple more questions here. What's the best moment while playing in Charlotte? I know there could be a lot of those answers, but what's one thing that when you think about your playing career, what stands out the most?
For me, is winning conference championships. I was lucky enough to win 2 of them, and almost got a third. I think.
What was the year we won 5 in a row, 5 days in a row? Was that 98?
98. No, 97, 98. That was
my
year. We lost against Cincinnati in the finals. Joey's freshman is when we played.
Yeah,
then you went 5 in 5 days.
That's when we reeled off
Birmingham, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was there when we won in the shoe when Kincaid went nuts against Cincinnati.
That was my senior year
on CBS. Bill Walton's calling the game.
Yeah, my junior year.
That's old school right there. So all right, many there. How about you, Jobey?
Yeah. I mean, definitely the conference titles, those 2 as well, I was a part of, but playing in 3 NCAA tournaments out of my 4 years. Our off year was the NIT when, we had Tremaine Gardner, a key player, go down. I feel like had he not gotten hurt, we would have gone to the tournament, 4 straight years. And so, what more could you ask for playing 4 NCAA tournaments? The competitor in me is upset that we never made it past the second round, but it seems like things just never went our way, either the draw or, Kelvin Price, our starting center, getting food poisoning, things like that happen to us time and again.
Didn't you get food poisoning against Notre Dame?
I did. That was my senior year, so we played Notre Dame.
I got a memory. I remember that. I don't know where we had our pregame meal, but that wasn't.
I call him Super Terb, man. Super Terb.
That was Chad's fault, the pregame meal, and that wasn't my fault. I got a question coming up right here, and this is for Coach here. I asked Diego by the time he came to the bench and screamed, "No more zipper." That's fantastic. I love it. Oh,
you know why?
Yeah, hold on. Here we go. I got another one here. I took him out because he passed him a couple shots. That's awesome. Man, that's great. I remember Cincinnati coming in when they had Logan and Satterfield and Martin. Keaton Martin, one of the biggest cats I've ever seen. But we took them down. I remember that. That was such an amazing experience. 9 o'clock in Halton, ESPN. I remember George Walker, head manager at the time, telling me, because it was my first experience, he's like, just get your butt to half court because they're storming. I'm like, all right, man, let's go. All right, so give us one edited Coach Lutz story. It's got to be edited. Obviously, we got kids watching, maybe. So tell us something that you'd like to share with everybody.
Joey, you go.
I've got one. I'll start. I remember a couple. Every road trip, he'd always get 2 pieces of pepperoni, like very small slices, and he'd always like his Diet Pepsi Light Ice pregame. But I remember one practice, Chad. I wonder if Coach will remember this, but Chad was rolling balls. We were rolling them down the sidelines, when we were doing drills, and one got away from Chad and I think hit the back of Coach's of legs or feet, and we were all holding our breath for that one. But luckily, he was pretty cool about it.
Well, like I said, Coach is my guy, so I'm not going to throw him under the bus. I really don't have any, any bad.
How about a winning story?
I will say this though, and
how about the song in March time? Remember, it was the song "Let We Want to Dance" or something. Remember, we always played that song, and then we had the steps on the board.
Yeah, but I was just going to say that one thing I will say, Coach Lutz. I feel like Diego and I are two of the most competitive people on the planet. I think we would say that carries over even into real estate now. But Coach Lutz is right up there with us. Hated to lose. And I love that about him. And there were a couple of times in the tunnel. I'm not even going to say the name of the opposing coach, but I thought they were going to go to fisticuffs.
I will.
And so.
I got a great story. Okay. I got the best story. Okay. Thanks for reminding me. So we're playing Marquette. Y'all probably know this story.
Yeah.
And Wardle needed 3 points or something to break the school record. I remember the managers came over and said, "Hey man, do you think we can get the game ball if Wardle breaks the record?" And I don't know who said anything, but it got back to Coach, and I think Jay-Z shut him down for a 0. And Zimmerman. And we were in that, and we were back in that tunnel, and Coach let him know it's going to wait another game. And I remember Screw in the back there, Kevin, letting everybody. Anyway, that's the stuff I miss, man. That was some fun stuff.
I'll say one thing about Coach Lutz, man. Is I absolutely. I mean, of course, he was very competitive and fire up all the time, but his intensity, man, the intensity that he always brought up to anything, even to what is it called when we scout when we scout the other team, like we walk through in the morning before the game. He'll have any of the assistant coaches, whether it was or Moxley or Lance or whoever it was, and he was their assignment. And Coach Lutz, without having anything in his hand, he'll be like this. And if they made a mistake, oh my God, because Lutz knew absolutely everything about the other team and all of the other players. And one of the things that I always said about Coach Lutz is that he was way, way ahead of his time. The way that we played is a lot of many people play today.
He remembered.
I'm reading Coach's comment right now.
1 point. I remember that, man. I remember that. That was fun. That was fun stuff, man. So after Charlotte, you both went on to play professionally. I didn't realize, Jobey, you played 13 years. I was going to say 10. Diego, how about you? You also played for the national team, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah, I played for the national team while I was in school. Mm-hmm. I represented my country for.
Did you play in the Olympics?
No, that was the only thing that I didn't play internationally.
Okay.
World championships and we didn't qualify for the Olympics while I was playing for the national team. But I played 16 years professionally after I graduated from college in 2001.
All right. And then did you just play strictly in Venezuela, or did you go other countries?
Most of my career was in my home country, Venezuela, but I also played in other countries in Latin America mostly. Okay. And I played in the Middle East as well. Saudi Arabia was there.
Jobey, you were mainly in Europe, correct?
Yeah. So the bulk of my career, 10 consecutive years, I was in Italy. I did play 3 years, kind of bookends on the front and back end in Portugal. So, great experience, and got to play EuroLeague and European Championships as well. So, Parlo Italiano, esattamente.
You won a championship over there, right?
Yeah, so I played a cool story when I was in Milan. I played for Giorgio Armani, so that was cool. He was the owner of the team, so it wasn't bad getting some free Armani suits.
Nice year.
Pretty
cool.
Sweet year. Nice. But yeah, we actually lost in the finals, and so at the highest level, that's as close as we got. Now in Portugal, I did win 2 championships and a couple of Portuguese cups, which was very special. But in all honesty, we were stacked. It wasn't really fair. And so, it wasn't quite the same as winning one in the Italian league, which is considered one of the better leagues in Europe outside the NBA.
Hey, can guests ask questions, Turk?
Sure.
Can I ask a question?
It's an open forum.
I'm curious, Joby. Did you ever get to play as a teammate or maybe an opponent over there in Italy or anywhere in Europe with any of the Cincinnati players?
I'm trying to think. It's a great question. I was in camp with Golden State when Steve Logan got drafted by them. Actually, truth be told, that should have been my early second round draft pick. For me, I didn't play well. Coach Lutz knows the story. I just didn't play well in Chicago pre-draft camp.
Do you think, not to interrupt you, but do you think if you guys played today, I see both of you playing in today's league, especially small ball?
Yeah, it's easy to sound like sour grapes, and I'm not that guy. But in all honesty, if had both of us come post Steph Curry, it would be a different story because we were coming out. They wanted 6'7" rangy guys, super athletic. But today, yeah, I really firmly believe you're spot on. Turb, be a different story. We're coming up.
Yeah, teams are shooting 43s a game.
Exactly.
So did you play any Cincinnati players? Or I know you said Logan at Golden State, but anybody else?
Honestly, I have to go back. My memory's so terrible. I played a lot of really good guys, a lot of well-known guys, but I don't remember specifically.
Well, I asked because I did get to play against I forgot, it was Jason. I don't know if it was Jason. His first name.
Maxill.
Tate. No, Tate.
Oh,
I know
his
name Tate. Play against Tate, and guy was cool. We played, but I also played against Pete Michael, and I never liked him. And then when I saw him overseas, like I still don't like him. Still don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
I actually did play against Pete Michael. He was in Spain. He ended up having a good career. So I think I played against him in EuroLeague.
I remember him. So all right, so you're done with the career, and what led you to real estate?
Tell him the truth, Diego. I sold Diego's house for him, and he decided, man, what an amazing job.
Ugly.
All right, and then so
and Joby, like, if Joby can't do, I can do it better. So that was it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people that I have interviewed or talked to on the podcast, they're local business owners or entrepreneurs. Obviously, we're business owners. It seems like many of us come from an athletic or sports background, which I think is key, obviously, with discipline. We wake up every day unemployed. So, you have to stay, that competitive mindset and then stay sharp. So would you agree when you talk about real estate, did basketball prepare you for that? Obviously not even professionally like real estate, but obviously probably in other areas of life too. Anybody could.
Yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt, the discipline, the hard work to play at a high level professionally, but even at the collegiate level, it just didn't happen by chance. And so the same discipline that I think that both of us can attest we applied and had to have in playing sports is the same thing that we've brought into the business world. Just happens to be real estate, but I think it also is attributed to some of the success that we've both had, just our background in athletics.
Diego,
not a question. There's I think basketball and the especially when you play at a high level, like Joe was saying, I think it prepares you for anything in life. And one of the things that I like to pass on to my children is for them to play team sports. Because I believe in life, you can't do it all by yourself. You always need help, and having a common goal is great. But I always compare basketball to real estate. It's competitive. It's very competitive. You got to stay on top of your training. You got to practice your stuff, and you got to know your stuff. So I always think, like, when everybody asks me, like, whether I miss basketball or anything like that, I really don't. I feel like I'm, basically in a different sport, same concept. So absolutely, I think it prepares you.
Got a former manager here, wants to ask a few questions. My boy Shaw, John Shaw, he's the man. Before we ask the question, type away. I'll ask.
He's your mentor, isn't he?
Yeah, he was there. When I was number 5 on the totem pole. He was there with Austin. So what I was going to say exactly right. I also think you have to have a thick skin in this business. And you always, that's why my hashtag is Coach Terb, because obviously, I went from being a manager. I wanted to get into college coaching. I did. I coached at a Division II college in Arkansas, Ouachita Baptist, for many that don't know that. But when you get into real estate, especially residential real estate, you're dealing with a lot of emotions and you're dealing with things that you're not prepared for. So you've got to be ready to, I always make that joke. It's like, expecting man, he sees zone, or vice versa. You got to be able to attack it, but also when things don't go your way, knowing how you're going to pick it up and keep going. So I think it all plays in together. Shaw, did you have a question? See if he types it in. So what's the market like in Charlotte? I'm sure it's pretty similar to what we're seeing around the country.
Yeah, shake the head. Crazy, right? Go ahead, Diego.
It's insane. I mean, if you're working with a buyer, you're competing probably with another 25 or probably more for the same house. If you're working with a seller, then you're working extra hours to put all them offers together and present them to your seller. It's definitely a seller's market. Very low inventory and a lot of people moving our way. I think we're blessed. The location where we are in Charlotte, in North Carolina, I think is wonderful. And how much the city's grown. I mean, if I go back to 1997 when I first came over here, well, Jobey's, born and raised here, is completely different to what it was in 97. So, but it's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, various price points from first-time buyers to to six-figure or seven-figure plus. You're experiencing just extremely low inventory. Looking at the numbers, anywhere here in Charlotte, 50 to 60 to I saw even a small section of one of the counties close to Charlotte, 73% less inventory now than a year ago. So it's really hard to
I think across the country is the same thing we're seeing. What we're seeing here in Raleigh or the Triangle is people don't know where they want to go. There's no better time to sell, get that equity, but maybe don't want to list their home until they know where they're going. So I'm actually helping, several buyers or sellers with, getting set up with HELOCs, bridge loans, be able to connect the dots there. I've helped a couple of people just sell and they go to a 6-month rental, knowing that they have the home off the market, or they won't have a contingency. Extremely high due diligence. What's the highest due diligence you guys have written or seen? I got one. 15,000 is my highest.
I've seen 8,000.
Mm-hmm. So a friend of mine. To repeat the question because my internet was buffering.
Oh, due diligence. Like, what's the most due diligence you've written or seen?
Oh gosh, I've had a client do a $25,000 due diligence.
So for people listening that may not know what due diligence is, in North Carolina, we're a due diligence state. So when you write an offer, no money changes hands till we're actually under contract. But the due diligence money is money that it goes to the seller once you're under contract. You get it back at closing. It's part of your down payment, but it's non-refundable if you decide not to buy the home. And that's where I think our biggest challenge, not only us in North Carolina, but across the country, is housing affordability, first-time buyers, because they can't compete with that. And new construction can't build fast enough. And even that cost of material, lumber, things like that, is the prices are increasing. So that's going to be, I believe, our biggest hurdle there. We got a question here. So you guys can jump on this. How would you say investors can make money in today's market? Again, that's from my boy.
We work. Great question. We work with a lot of investors. It's challenging. There still are opportunities. We believe there's opportunities in every market. You're just having to get creative. So off-market opportunities is one of the ways that we've been able to help some investors succeed. That being said, from a seller's perspective, it's almost crazy to do an off-market deal because you go to market and you stand to get more money. You got a lot more exposure. So, but that's what we've had to do. We've also had to do some creative things with we put in a lot of sight unseen offers and so forth. For people even in coming soon status, things like that. New construction is another area where we've helped a number of investors just through our local connections with builders and people in the area. We've been able to, through some smaller builders to get some of the information of what's coming and homes that they haven't even broken ground or cleared the lot that we're trying to get under contract. So it's that type of market. It's challenging, but you just got to be creative.
Anything to add, Diego?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's pretty challenging right now. Buy and hold is probably going to be your best option right now because the market is appreciating so fast. And a lot of the deals, like if it's a situation of a flip or anything like that, a lot of those deals are being made, before they hit the MLS. Once they hit the MLS, it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's the long game, I would say. I was actually having this conversation. I listed a townhome in Durham for $149,900 right by 15501 Duke campus in unit ranch, 9 offers, cash buyer, close in 10 days. But it was for a primary. And I was telling our team, investors just have to be a little more careful because they don't have the emotion that a buyer has. They want to get in that house. It's a numbers game for them. But even if you get into something, it's the long game and have that positive cash flow. So it's definitely, it's definitely there's opportunity there, but it's just a little more selective. The coming soon, Joby, you touched on that. Sight unseen, you're seeing more and more buyers trying to get in there. I sold a home for a past client of mine, sold for $16,000 over asking. Coming soon. The buyer lost out 6 times. They were tired of it. They knew the floor plan. I submitted the initial offer. The seller said, "We can get this. We got a deal." They were more excited because we didn't have to show the house. And, that's the power of coming soon, because it hits there. We got another comment from someone very close to me and us is Coach Moss. Look at this. He's actually was paramount in me getting into coaching. He knew my boss in Arkadelphia at Ouachita Baptist, Coach Schaaf. And Benny was at the rival. He was a Reddy, unfortunately. I still don't wear red today. Well, not a lot of red due to the fact we played the Reddies. That was our rival. But Coach, man, he's awesome. He's now coaching he's at Coastal Carolina. So what up, Coach? Thanks for watching.
Benny Moss.
So, all right. So what would you guys say? I got a little personal question for you. What would say, I know you guys are competitive. But what would say what you bring to the table, or what separates you as agents versus competitors? Because there's a lot of people, I compare real estate into coaching in the fact that people would watch us coach, but they just think we'd show up for 2 hours on a game day and coach and not see everything behind the scenes. I see that in real estate. People see us as showing houses, driving around and going to closings. Obviously there's so much more. And you could say that about a lot of industries. But what would say you guys what separates you guys? If someone was looking to get into the either buy or selling market, what would you say? Like I said, separates you guys.
I think you touch on a great point, Terb, and your nickname, Coach Terb. I feel like education. The way that I see this business is completely it's completely different to working at a car dealership or selling furniture, where you might sell somebody a piece of furniture that once they get to their house, they'd be like, "Oh, wait a minute, I bought this." So you don't really need those skills in this business because nobody's going to buy a house or sell a house that they don't really need to. And coaching and educating clients in terms of, especially in a market like today, giving them all of the information and allowing them to make an informed decision, I think personally separates me from sometimes other agents that don't have that background of being able to give all the information and coach.
Yeah, that's a huge part of what we do as well. Education, preparation, local market knowledge. The name of our firm is Clockwork Realty Group, and the reason is because we make things run like clockwork. We really are big on systems, and from A to Z, not just during the home buying or selling process, before, during, as well as after. So we believe in long-term relationships. I've never been one, I know I speak for Diego, that feel like I have to sell anything. I'm here to advise and to counsel and to really help people make one of the biggest decisions they'll ever make. So I'm a no pressure sales guy, and I think people appreciate that we genuinely have their best interest at heart and want to serve them well, not just for the time being, but long term.
You took the words out of my mouth. I feel like, I tell our team, your salespeople first, but I mean that you need to obviously get business. Like I said before, you wake up every day unemployed. You have to create your own personal brand, especially going into, the next 5 years. If you don't have a personal brand, you're going to be glorified telemarketer in this business. Another thing that I always say is this is my business. It's not my job. This is my business every day. And I think people, like you said, Jobey, they read people very, very quickly. And if they know that their intentions is our primary goal, especially when I look at everything as resale too, to help them. So if they call me in 3 to 5 years, 5 to 7 years, we're going to be having a good situation, good resale there. But everything starts with the consultation, not getting the cart before the horse. If anything, with COVID, I used to always do my buyer consults in person. But COVID, I've actually enjoyed doing more of my Zoom calls. I can share my screen, set them up on a search, but really get them an idea of what to expect when they get in. So I think that's the biggest key. So if anybody's listening, they're thinking about buying or selling, also go with someone that is, they do this every day. Like I said, this is their career, this is their business. It also helps when that seller or listing agent is looking through multiple offers. They say Diego's name, Jobey's name, hopefully Terb's name. That agent's going to want to work with you because they know you're going to get to the finish line. That also plays a big role. Where do you see the market going there in Charlotte? I know it's probably similar here. You guys are growing just like the surrounding areas, but in the next 5 years, where do you think Charlotte's going to be, or as well as where do you want your business to be?
Yeah, I'm very bullish on Charlotte. You look at the underlying market conditions, extremely low inventory, low interest rates, a ton of buyer demand. I'm working with 3 people moving from California currently. Just seeing how many people are relocating here based on just weather, cost of living, etc. So naturally, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know when a correction's coming. At some point in time, interest rates rise, etc. There may be a slowdown, but overall, long term, if you look at the growth of the city, I really don't see things changing anytime in the immediate future, and really excited. I tell people all the time, I love real estate, but if the good Lord up and moves me to another part of the country, maybe a very different market, I don't know that I would be doing the same thing I'm doing. I think I'd be involved in real estate, maybe in some capacity, but to be in residential general brokerage and working with investors and doing what we're doing, it would probably change that. So I really do feel like Raleigh included, we are very, very fortunate to be in one of the arguably best markets in the country.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think, our location is just very valuable in terms of weather and being in the southeast region of the country. We're basically right in the middle between Miami and New York. The Charlotte Douglas Airport is the airport with the most direct flight destinations to business destinations. That's also very relevant for companies to bring their headquarters this way. Third banking city in the U.S. And just like Jobey was saying, as far as the low inventory and how many people is moving in daily into the city. Before the pandemic, the statistics were saying that it was 73 people moving in daily to our area.
You took the words out of me. We have 70 a day coming to the Triangle.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, and when it comes down to pricing, price of real estate is just like anything. It begins from the basic concept of demand and supply. And when you have very low supply, very high demand, those prices are going to continue to drive up. And
it's key that you still have to price it right, to get that action.
Absolutely.
And that's the key. That's the key there.
A real estate agent like Terb, Jobey, or Diego.
Yeah, that's what we do. All right, one question, a couple more questions, and then we have a lot of guest questions. I like this. People come to you, they're coming in from California, Jobey, right? And they say, all right, Jobey, what's the difference between Charlotte and Raleigh? How do you respond to that?
Hey, I think they're two great choices. If you want to buy here, then we're going to take great care of you. If not, I'm going to connect you to my guy, Terb, Super Terb, up in Raleigh.
But you have a couple times already. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, we're returning the favor team, and my people have been very pleased. And so, in all seriousness, I think it just depends on the individual client's personal situation. repeating what I said earlier, if that's what's best for them, then hey, I want to get you connected and make sure you're taken care of in Raleigh. If that happens to be here, we want to educate you and help you make a long-term wise decision.
Diego?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's the same thing. I get a lot of people from Florida, some people from up north as well. A lot of people moving in from Miami and Orlando coming up this way. But that question comes up only a few times, and it's just what depends what what their life is about. My understanding is the triangle is a lot of technology, right? So those are the conversations that I have. But absolutely, if they go into the triangle, they got to work with Super Terb.
I'm always honest too. Yeah, I just tell them I think Raleigh still has some small town feel to it, depending on what subjects, what locations you are. Charlotte, in many ways, I could see as being the capital. I mean, Raleigh's obviously the capital. Charlotte being more of a banking city. I always tell people pre-COVID, Charlotte, you wanted to live downtown, to be downtown. Raleigh, not so much. I mean, not saying that condo living is not the same. I mean, it was coming up. But now with COVID, obviously, people know they're working more from home, so they're actually wanting a little more space. So there's obviously positives for both, which is what makes North Carolina phenomenal. What would you say if someone's watching this and they want to get into real estate? What advice would you have?
Well, since we're talking about residential real estate, just to be clear, so that's what we focus on, and I would just say it's not for everybody. It's a great career, very rewarding. You have to love people first and foremost, because as I said, it's not so much about selling houses as it is about counseling people, being a good listener. You oftentimes there's a lot of emotion involved. Terb mentioned this earlier, and so it can be challenging. It's a huge decision, and when people are dealing with a lot of money and a lot of emotion, tensions can be high. And so it's not for everybody in that regard, but it is a great career. It's also very competitive. There are lots and lots of agents out there, and I think our industry's experiencing change and will continue to change in some ways. You've got larger national companies and a lot of hedge fund money, et cetera, trying to change the industry as well. And so I think the brokerage as we know it is going to be here to stay, in my personal opinion, because people value relationship and they understand the importance of it. That being said, it is going to be harder for some people who are going to take the kind of easier, cheaper way out and look for other alternative solutions.
Anything you want to add, Diego?
How are your people skills? That's my first question. Anybody that want to get into this business, Jobey said is really not about selling houses. The houses will sell themselves. It's really people interaction and how well can you coach and counsel and educate. But again, it's the same thing. It's very competitive, and go ahead and learn as much as you can. Nowadays, there's no reason for you not to get your hands on a book or go on YouTube and learn about the business before you get into the business.
No, I think you're right. I think when people come to me and they say, "Can we do this part-time?" No, and not be good at it. And as you mentioned, Diego, I always tell people getting under contract's the easy part.
That's right.
That's contract to close, and that's where our value really comes in play. And I would tell and I would just to chime in. I tell people when they're coming into this business, their first 6 months to a year, they're a farmer. They're not a hunter, and they better have money in the
money saved too.
Money saved, a partner, spouse. Right. But if you put into it, put the hard work in, you'll see the results, and there's no better career. And at the same time, you're also helping people, because I know you guys. There's no better feeling when you get to make that call and say start packing, or you've changed someone's life to be able to sell their home and move on, or move to another home, or so that's the really rewarding part about that. So one more question. This is a good one.
I
think we did. I think we had Coach answer that.
Diego, how many game winners do you have? Do you remember?
I don't know. but quite a few.
Oh, okay, quite a few.
Quite a few. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. If we're playing together, you know I'm running point. So I got you know who's shooting it.
Yeah, it should be. Well, I wish we could still. I mean, yeah, it's phenomenal. Great question. There's no wrong answer.
No,
so last thing,
something about that though, like how competitive Jobey and I always been, and that's that translated into wins for Charlotte. But I remember when we had individual workouts, Jobey, I don't know if you remember this, but we had individual workouts and we always to go like, take 15 shots. And whoever was going first, like we backcourt mates. So we were individual workouts. We pretty much always in the same workout. And it's like 15 shots, take 15. Whoever was going first, the second one was going to get one above that number. So if I was going first and go 13 for 15, guaranteed Joey is going to go 14 for 15. And likewise, if he was going first and he 12, I was going to hit 13. I don't know if you remember that, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the answer is we both want the ball. So we both want that last shot. I think it's a pretty decent option either way.
And if Damon's on the floor, then we're really have trouble.
Rodney White, everybody want to take it.
Rodney just run box for pop.
The beauty of it is not only who take it, but who wants to take it. Because a lot of times you play with people that don't want to take that shot. With us, it was not a problem. I had confidence in Jobey taking it, just like he had confidence in me taking it, or even Damon or Ronnie White. I mean, it was easy for us.
Yeah.
So last question. And I'm going to see if you guys want to just stay on for my last segment to feature my local beer of the week. But I love this question because I love all the answers that I'm getting. I definitely catch people off guard. And here I said we'll be around 30 minutes. We're at 47 minutes, but that's okay. I like to talk. So this has been an unbelievable podcast. I'm having a lot of fun. What is the best advice you've ever received, and by who?
Oh, gosh.
You're really making me think.
Man, no.
Look at this. We got a little Kristen chiming in. Look at this. What's up, Kristen? What's the best advice you've received, and by who?
Diego, you won the ball, man. You get to go first.
I'm trying to think, making me think hard going. I think I've received a lot of great advice.
Advice. Wow.
It's my boy George. Yeah, this is good. I like that. I want to hear it.
Give me yours, and maybe that helped us. Maybe that help us. What is yours?
For me? Oh, man, I did a reverse question here. I would probably I got it from my high school coach. I mean, obviously we have a ton, but my high school coach always used to tell me finish. Whatever you start, you finish, and you do your best, whether that's a drill, a season, a job, being a husband. You finish. You do the job, and because we've all been in positions where, we have challenging. I remember my story directly. I was going into my senior high school here in Raleigh at Ravenscroft, and I remember it was like finally my year to start. Yeah, senior year. I played behind a guy named Antoine Harris, who was drafted in, I believe, the 5th round by the New England Patriots. That was the starting point guard at the time. So when I started, then they brought in a gentleman from another school that started over me, and I had thoughts of quitting. But my high school coach was Coach Mark Miller, unbelievable, told me, and I was starting by midseason. But it was just that mentality, and that's what I tell my son and my daughter, is to finish whatever you start. So that's mine. Still have you guys stumped here.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot of great advice. I don't have a one-liner, unfortunately, but I know my mom. I get my work ethic from my mom, and so she was the hardest worker that I've ever seen, and so that's the thing that that I always instill in my kids, to say, listen, you don't have to have the best grades in the world, you don't have to have the most success in the eyes of the world, but I do not accept laziness and lack of effort. And so I think that's just important to me, to say, hey, control what you can control, and you can always control your effort. And so that's advice that was instilled in me from day one. And I feel like I have very little patience for people who display minimal effort.
All right. Anything you want to add, Diego?
I'm going to add, and I don't know who I got this from, but, do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes.
No, it's
Pretty
perfect, man. That's perfect. And this was from our boy Shaw again. And Jobey over Chinese lunch not to go into banking. That's awesome. So, but man, guys,
I gotta give love to my boy John Shaw. And this guy, you need to have him on the podcast.
No question. He got
Terb. This man, not trying to toot his horn, having amazing influence in a lot of people's lives. Young men looking to go into the business world, etc. I want to be like John Shaw when I grow up. In all seriousness,
we were in London together for the Panthers Yucks game, as I call them, October of 19. And we kind of chuckled that it took us to be across the pond in London for the first time to hang out in a while. But the guy, you're right. I mean, it's very good advice. He's awesome. I learned a lot from him as well. So I'm going to post, when we finish here, obviously you guys are going to be able to reach out. I'll tag Jobey and Diego. And I'm going to take a quick break. I know we went on for a while. I'm going to come back and I'm going to do my feature local beer of the week. If you guys want to hang tight, Diego, Jobey, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to the Super Terb Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Michael Turbot, your local real estate agent in the Raleigh-Durham area, a.k.a. Super Terb, a.k.a. Coach Terb. And I'm back for my last segment, my local beer of the week. You guys like this? I get the Super Terb Koozie Super Bowl edition. And I went out. What I try to do is feature a local beer. We've got a lot of local breweries in our area that are just awesome. And it's one of the things that I enjoy. Now, I went 31 days without beer, lost 10 pounds, but today I can finally sample a little something. So I've got something from the Deep River Brewing Company out of Clayton, North Carolina, or Johnson County. And I like stouts. This is an Imperial Stout. Plus, I like the can. Isn't that a cool can? And so this is collaboration without representation. It packs a punch, 12.8%. Get Imperial Stout. It's got a little coffee. It's got a little chocolate flavor. Deep River, they're located in Clayton. They've got a really nice tap room. They have food trucks, but with COVID, I always tell everyone, make sure you call out to them before you go, just to make sure they're open or what their schedule looks like. And lastly, Taylor's Wine Shop in North Raleigh is where I go. It's where actually I picked this up before the podcast. They're awesome. They're, again, across the street from where I grew up. They have phenomenal wine, craft beer. Go check them out. Tell them Terb sent you. Again, they're off North Raleigh off Six Forks Road, guys. So I'm gonna try a little sip here. Oh yeah, that's nice. Nice one right there in the evening, guys. You guys were awesome. And if anybody was listening wants to be on the Super Terb Podcast, reach out to me. Shoot me an email. I love telling people story. Love seeing how people have won and how they can influence people. And it's Michael Turbot with Diego and Jobey, your local real estate expert with the Ida Turbo Group, Coldwell Banker, HPW, again, a.k.a. Super Terb. Until next week, remember, who you work with matters. See ya.